limited street access, closed lots, and then some. By now, you've heard the stories from the folk who've lived this nightmare. Business owners have lost customers. A charter school lost students. A veterinarian lost clients. Churches have lost members. And still, Procrastination Crenshaw sits unfinished. And when I say sits unfinished, I mean sits unfinished. Nobody was seduced by the Jedi mind trick they tried to play when they ran that headline on the front page of a local black newspaper about the project restarting in weeks. I mean, come see for yourself. The only trucks on Crenshaw are deconstruction trucks. It took a minute, but to her credit, LA Mayor Karen Bass showed up and she's leaning in on getting our parking back. But think about this for just a second. LA is not Chocolate City, and yet we are blessed to have a black mayor and a black city council president. But where is the black city council president? Where is Marquise Harris Dawson? This is his project in his district, but he has been strangely quiet. Did you notice in the recent Los Angeles Times story about Procrastination Crenshaw that neither Marquise Harris Dawson nor Destination Crenshaw had a word to say on the record? The silence was deafening. When people ask me why the silence, all I can say is, good question. As a reminder, the Crenshaw Corridor community sent him a letter, and it laid out real demands: a public timeline, relief for the businesses that have suffered, and an audit. At the moment, the last one matters most: the audit. Here's the thing: the foundation money, the private donations, that's their business. But this project is also funded by city money, state money, and federal money. I refer you back to the front page story in that black newspaper where they all talked about this. Go read it again. In any event, it's your money. And when public money goes into a $100 million project that still sits unfinished, the public has a right to see where every dollar went. Contracts, budgets, payments, schedules. That's not too much to ask. Again, it's your money. Our letter gave Mr. Harris Dawson a deadline, Friday, September 4th, to respond. The clock is ticking, Mr. President. 12 hours to mind the public's business. And this is one of them. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
How do you want it? Yeah.
Money on my mind, money on my mind,
Yeah.
money on my mind, money on my mind,
Yeah.
money on my mind, money on my mind.
That's right.
Money on my mind, so money is all I think of.
That's right.
Money on my mind, money on my mind, money on my mind, money on my mind,
You know.
money on my mind, money on my mind, money on my mind, so money is all I
Welcome to Wealth Building Wednesdays, where we center Black, women, and BIPOC-owned businesses, highlight opportunities and initiatives for underrepresented entrepreneurs, and center socially innovative enterprises, building generational prosperity, fostering real networking, and recycling Black dollars. It's Wealth Building Wednesdays on KBLA Talk 1580.
It is indeed, and today I want to draw your attention to some resources that are often overlooked for businesses in LA City and LA County. It is not easy to have a business here, as you hear with just the whole struggle with the destination, aka Procrastination Crenshaw. It is not easy with the economy the way it is to have a business anywhere, but there are some resources that are meant to make it a little easier, and sometimes we overlook them. The County of Los Angeles has something called the Department of Economic Opportunity. Sounds vague and broad, but in fact it has some specific and very targeted kinds of help for you, the small business owner. They will help you get your small business certification and register you with the county, which can help you do business with the County of Los Angeles, a vast organization that's bigger than many nations. And when you think, well, my business is too small, I can't contract with the county, that may not be, because a lot of times you can work under a larger business as a subcontractor, or it might be a small contract. This is true for food service, for anything from being a publicist or a communications specialist, to laying down cement. So they can help you get certified. They can help you find those contracts. And they have special webinars. They have workshops and trainings to help you get your business on track and get your paperwork ducks in a row. They also have VIP access to networking events and some discounts for small businesses. You can go to opportunity.lacounty.gov. That's opportunity.lacounty.gov. The giant, massive apparatus that is Los Angeles County has an Office of Small Business. I would wager that most small businesses have no idea that that even exists. You can get your first one-on-one business counseling session free, in person, or even on the phone. They have an entrepreneur center in East LA, or they have a virtual small business concierge. If you're not great online, you can call the Office of Small Business at 844-432-4900, 844-432-4900. That's the county. These are services and resources that we, and I'm talking about small businesses, I'm talking about BIPOC, but I'm also talking specifically about Black-owned businesses. Many times we just don't take advantage of them. We don't even know they are there. Now that's the county. The city of LA also has its own business office, and there's something called the Business Navigator. Go to business.lacity.gov. and they will help you apply for your business tax registration certificate, your business license. They can also put you in touch with city contracts. Keep in mind that you probably live in both, or work or have your business in the city and the county of LA. Permits. They also can help if you need guidance around different things like different city business resources. Disability compliance, what department you have to go to do what. All of this is at business.lacity.gov, business.lacity.gov. They can even tell you how to open a business if you've yet to do that. They have a concierge service. If you have questions about what your next steps are, you can register your business. They also have a Restaurant and Small Business Express program that will help you, if you are a restaurant that is not a big chain, to streamline your process, your permits, your inspections, and all of these things. So I want to draw your attention to these places because sometimes as small business owners, and I am one of those, we get overwhelmed. It just seems like too much to keep up with all the paperwork and certifications and everything that we need. And there is some help, whether you're managing an existing business or starting a business. You can go to business.lacity.gov. And lastly, I want to invite you, if you're interested, I am going to be emceeing an event for Tech Lamert, their Creative Pathways Social. Now, this is a program that has teamed up small businesses with tech experts and creators, the young people who are interning with these businesses to help them get their technology piece together, because many times with the small businesses, we might not even have that aspect of our business together at all. That is taking place Friday, the 21st, this coming Friday. It will be from noon to 2, downtown LA. And if you want to go, you can find the link. You can find the invitation at Eventbrite. It's TEC, Creative Pathways Social, TEC. Tech Lamert is always TEC. And it would be just a great opportunity to network for your small business. I will be there. I will see you there. This is Vision Lab, the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, Tech Lamert, and the Brotherhood Crusade. And you can go to creativepathwaysla.eventbrite.com, creativepathwaysla.eventbrite.com. Come do a little bit of networking, an opportunity for your business to possibly get connected with yet another path to more business success and more thriving. So that's my take on Wealth Building Wednesday for today. Hope you'll tap into some of these resources and opportunities because we want you to thrive. Phone lines are open now, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Let's talk national, international politics and whatever's going on right around where you be at. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
Seriously speaking, every Saturday when I hear the program about Altadena and how it may not come back, that's happening to us. This is the largest land grab since the gold rush in California. We have an EDD property, 59,000 square feet. Our elected representative determined that she should write a bill that would declare it to be surplus. So now guess what we're getting? Affordable housing. So I hope that we can start listening to one another because there is a domino effect. If you don't care about us, guess what? We won't be here and then you won't be here.
Not letting them get away with anything. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Conversation continues. You are invited in 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. So if you have something to say about the conversation that Paul Lee and Attorney Jaiye Person Lynn put in motion about the black and brown question, you can call. If you got something else on your mind, you can call. I feel like this is something that I've talked about ad nauseum because it's not a static thing. It changes over time, as Jaiye points out, right? So I come from the San Francisco Bay Area where the collaboration and I'll say allyship is much stronger than here in the Bay, in LA. When I first came to LA, I took a lot of heat from people because I just assumed that black and Latino people were allies. That's how it is in the Bay. It's not even a question. Here, it was much more of a question. And I didn't realize that had a lot to do with a gang situation, what happens inside the prison system. And so while I do agree with Jaiye that we cannot ignore where we are now, we cannot ignore where we are now with, the fluctuation and maybe worsening. I mean, maybe to be fair, maybe it is worsening. I think it's worsening because of the immigration debate and the way the Republican Party has positioned black people. And then people like Tariq Nasheed, who have created a broader division between anyone American, so-called American, and anyone U.S. American and anyone else, whether it be between African Americans and Africans, Black Americans and Africans, or Caribbeans, or people from Latin America. So there's that. And Paul, I don't know if he couldn't stay or the call dropped, but if you want to finish your point, you're welcome to do so. The thing is that these I think it kind of goes in cycles from what I've observed, because when I first came here, there was a lot of tension. We had what was going on, the problems in Hawaiian Gardens and parts of LA where Latino gangs were making it clear that black folks weren't welcome in those areas. And then we had some strong mandates coming out of the prison system. But yet, throughout this time, there's been lots of friendships and alliances. I point out when I talked about Villaraigosa and when I talked about Tom Bradley, that's just one small part of the story. The California State Assembly, we would hand off from black to Latino to black to Latino Speaker of the House, leader of the state apparatus for generations, right? That started with Willie Brown handing off to Antonio Villaraigosa, who handed off, I believe, to Herb Wesson, who, and it went like that. So I think that is a parallel tract. You look at an organization like the Community Coalition, where they have won major victories for Black and Latino students who go to the same schools, public schools I'm talking about, like the A through G, the advanced placement requirements that were not available in South LA schools. The only reasons those became available is because Black and Latino parents and students banded together and challenged the school board, challenged the state, and we had reallocations of funds, and now those are available. So it's a parallel tract. On the one hand, you've had this division and fighting, and on the other hand, you've had a lot of cooperation and allyship that has led to some real victories. If black people don't vote for Antonio Villaraigosa, he never becomes mayor. Period, full stop. If Latinos don't vote for Karen Bass, there is no Mayor Bass. Those are just facts. So I think the division is real, to Jaye's point, and I do think we have to be aware of it. But also the unity is real, and I think we have to guard it and build it and foster it, because that's a thing. And to pretend that isn't there doesn't benefit us either. I know we did redistricting, but what I'm talking, Paul is in the YouTube chat, but what I'm talking about is what Nuri Martinez, Gil Cedillo, Kevin De Leon, those were the council members that were conspiring, and then you had the head of the LA County Federation of Labor, Ron Herrera. What they were talking about was moving the boundaries so that assets like USC would be moved out of those districts, and that plan that they were discussing did not happen. Spook says there is no black-brown coalition, and that's just demonstrably not true. Look at the voting numbers. Look who voted for Barack Obama. Look who voted for Tom Bradley. Look who voted for Karen Bass. Look who voted for every black or Latino mayor in the city of Los Angeles. That coalition is there. It's functioning. You might not like it, and I'm not saying it's the answer to everything or the end-all be-all, but it is there, and it is real, and it benefits both communities tremendously. Is there competition? Yes. Is there animosity? Of course. Especially when you talk about new waves of folks coming into this country that have been propagandized by the Hollywood anti-black machine, and they come into this country, whether they're white, Latino, even other black people from other black countries, they come into this country with stereotypes about black people, with disparaging information about American black people in their brains. Even British black people. We've talked about that on this show, right? The David Oloyewo controversy, where he kind of was saying that, if you mix the British accent with slave and, slow, you get the black American accent. We know, but where do those attitudes come from? They come from the Hollywood anti-black image machine. And I do think, yes, black people should look out for our own communities. But to say there's no coalition is demonstrably false. It's just not true. Maybe it fits your narrative of what Tariq Nasheed says, or maybe it fits, a bad experience that you've had, and there are plenty to be had. We do have examples of Latinos keeping black people off job sites, and we do have examples of black folks, jacking up immigrant, vendors. We have those examples. But to say that there's no coalition is just wrong. And Fahima is correct. Latinos were protesting in 2020 and continue to protest that Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is still a black-led and run organization, but boom, you want to see coalition, you can see it right there. So, I feel like this idea that we have to say, oh no, that there is no coalition, or as Spook is saying in the chat, that we are on code and only looking out for ourselves. Okay, if that's your perspective, live your reality. That's not what I observe as a resident of South Los Angeles for the past 30 years. That's not my experience. I have seen the haterism. I have seen anti-blackness. I have seen anti-immigrant sentiment. And of course, anti-blackness is the king of white supremacist talking points, attitudes, actions. So I'm clear on that. I mean, you look at the hate crime data. It's always black people that are under attack. I'm clear on that more than anyone else, no matter what the headline says. If this cycle we're talking about anti-Asian hate, it doesn't mean there is no such thing as anti-Asian hate, but we understand that black people remain the primary targets. If this news cycle, it's anti-Semitism because of, the media spin around Gaza, we understand that anti-Semitism is real, but we also know that black people remain the primary targets of hate in this country. That is not in dispute. I'm not delusional. But to say there's no coalition is delusional because the facts, the data, the reality on the ground do not support that viewpoint. Let's go to Amin calling us from L.A.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Dominique.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I do.
Okay, good. I'm not going to act like I have the answers, but I want you to explain it to me. I have a real estate license. I'm a broker. But if our people don't have jobs, how can they buy houses? And how can I make a living? This is my question to you. I pass by all these construction sites. These people are building these apartments all over, commercial buildings all over. And sometimes I just hope and pray when I drive up, I can see an African American working.
Yep.
Who have a hard hat on and a thing. Please, can you explain to me what is happening in this housing situation when almost, look like to me, 99% of the people working on these buildings are Latino? And I want your answer. Explain it to me.
Well, I mean, this is one of the areas that I'm talking about where you have a lot of nepotism. You got folks who are on jobs. They help their families, their relatives, their neighbors get those jobs. That's part of what's happening. We have been historically, black people have been shut out of the building trades. There are apprenticeship programs. There is the LA Black Worker Center. There are initiatives to try to counteract that. In fact, speaking of Mark Ridley Thomas, who I also still stand by, Paul and Curran Price, that's part of what they were doing was these agreements with the builders to force them to hire local. They call them local hire initiatives or project labor agreements. But they can't say you have to hire black people. Thank you, Ward Connerly. You cannot have affirmative action in the state of California. But what you can do is you can say you have to hire people that live within this region. Those are some of the remedies, but this is one of the areas that has been a huge problem. I don't know, what there is to explain other than, have you been to the LA Black Workers Center to try to join with them to make sure that we are getting those jobs? Have you gone to an apprenticeship program that some of these building trades have, like IBEW Local 11 has one, that are organizations, black-led organizations like Second Call have pathways into? Have you referred young people into them? I feel like we, black people, have to do better with the word of mouth, with getting our people in, and with, advocating for our people and making sure our politicians do the same.
Okay, as just a little spin-off then. Well, if you're explaining something to me right now as a solution, all right, shouldn't that be our goal, our job to spread the word on how to solve these problems?
I can't tell you what your job is, but if we wait for someone else to solve black people problems, we're going to be waiting for all eternity. We've got news, traffic, and sports, then more on KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to here with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The investigation continues into a shooting at a Robbins, Illinois restaurant that left Black Mayor Darren Bryant with minor injuries. Village spokesman Sean Howard.
Fortunately, it was isolated. The mayor wasn't the intended target, and we're just praying for everyone involved.
Authorities say the suspected gunman was fatally shot by a private security guard, while a restaurant employee was also wounded. A black 18-year-old North Carolina woman is facing child abuse and assault charges after authorities say Saisha Jaden Johnson took abortion pills late in her pregnancy and gave birth at home at 31 weeks. The baby survived, and she, along with the baby's father, posted a $1,000 bond with charges pending. And LL Cool J is bringing the Rock the Bells Festival back to Newark this fall. The November event at Prudential Center will feature performances by Lil Kim, SWV, and Method Man and Redman as part of the celebration of Hip Hop History Month. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers held on for a 7-6 win in Colorado Tuesday night. Shohei Ohtani had a 2-run homer, his 30th of the season. 6th straight year, Ohtani has hit at least 30 home runs. The college football preseason top 25 poll is out. USC is number 14. The Trojans enter the season with the nation's #1 recruiting class. Top 5 schools in the preseason rankings: Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Notre Dame, and Texas. The entire men's basketball team at HBCU Texas Southern University participated in a campus protest Tuesday to show their support for interim head coach Sharon Chapman. The team wants the administration to name Chapman as the permanent coach. The players organized the protest with other students after learning that the administration is planning to hire Seton Hall assistant Corey Lowry. If Lowry is hired, it will be interesting to see how far the players and students take their dissatisfaction. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
What's good, KBLA delegation? I am Miles Lowe, and I'm excited to be joining the weekend lineup right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Join me every Saturday at 12 noon for the Do Better Show, where we get into the world of tech, AI, the creator economy, navigating your mental health through it all, and have conversations with founders to find out how real people are making real money right now. It's not a course, not a subscription. Class is in session every weekend, live on the air. So if you knew better, you do better, right? So let's make a better you. The Do Better Show, every Saturday, 12 noon, and replaying again at 7 p.m. right here on Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk Radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dionne Raymond, Justice Correspondent and host of the Justice Files. For years, LA City Councilman Curran Price has served his district. And for years, he's been under a legal cloud which, frankly, looks thinner every time it's tested in court. Last Friday, a Superior Court judge refused to throw out the corruption case against Price. That's true. But listen to what the judge actually said while doing it. Judge Larry Paul Fiddler called this not a great case. Not our words, his. Price's attorney, standing right there in the courtroom, said it plainly. In denying our motion, the court acknowledged that this is not a great case. We agree. Now, that's not a ringing endorsement of a prosecution. That's a judge saying, essentially, there's just enough here to send it to a jury. Barely. The ruling itself says nothing about guilt. It's not proof of wrongdoing. What it is a low bar, cleared by a thin margin, on evidence the court itself has called circumstantial. Councilman Price has pleaded not guilty. He denies the allegations. And after 3 terms representing his district, he's term limited and on his way out of office, regardless of how this case ends. Which raises a fair question. What exactly is served? By dragging a longtime champion for working families in South Los Angeles through a trial that even the presiding judge doesn't sound confident about. We're not saying elected officials should not be held accountable. They should. But accountability means something different from a prosecution that struggles to convince the very judge overseeing it. Curran Price deserves his day in court, and he deserves the presumption of innocence any one of us would want for ourselves or a loved one, especially when the bench itself has doubts. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dionne Raymond, Justice Correspondent and host of the Justice Files. As always, we welcome your feedback.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Yes, indeed. 800-920-1580 is the number to call if you want to join the conversation. I am always happy to see you and hear from you. Also, you can jump in on the YouTube chat, which a lot of people are doing right now. Fahima says black people are losing opportunities. This administration is dismantling that, is more of a threat to jobs than someone else has. I'm not quite sure why she puts it that way, but I know what she's talking about. She's talking about hundreds of thousands of black people, black women especially, who have lost their jobs, our jobs, because of this administration specifically. And I do think it's interesting that Tariq Nasheed doesn't have any smoke for them, but he's got plenty of smoke for immigrants. I also would say, Paul, to your point about redistricting happens every time there is a census. So we will have another redistricting in 2030, and we will redraw the lines of the city council. I thought they were going to get redrawn because of the charter commission was meant to create more council districts, but that appears to be going nowhere. We also got someone in this chat who's doing exactly what they do online, talking about the LA Jazz Festival, saying the problem was it was R&B and that there was not one jazz person on the lineup, which is totally BS and not at all true. And I don't know where you're getting your information. It is true. We had Charlie Wilson. We had Parliament Funkadelic. We had others on the lineup that were not strictly jazz, like almost every jazz festival in the world does, by the way. But there was lots of jazz, and I clearly you don't know what you're talking about. Kenyon Dixon is not jazz. Chief Ajua is not jazz. Pete Escovedo is not jazz. Michelle Coltrane is not jazz. Like, what are you even talking about? I hate it when people do that. Keon Harold is not jazz. Jason Marsalis is not jazz. What are you talking about? There was lots of jazz on here. And so that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. People go on the internet and they either repeat what they heard or they just make some stuff up and then they run with the talking point with no actual information. Yes, John Legend was there, Raphael Sadiq, Janelle Monáe, Charlie Wilson, Parliament Funkadelic, and that is what a lot of jazz festivals do. They get jazz-influenced R&B headliners, and they have lots of other jazz artists, and that is exactly what was happening here. Terrace Martin is not jazz. What world are you living in? I think that's the kind of stuff that is very unhelpful. And I don't know if we're going to start segregating jazz festivals, no R&B. Well, no, where do we draw the line? No soft jazz, only hard, straight ahead jazz, no avant-garde jazz. Okay, no, that wasn't the problem. Clearly, if you missed it, you can find yesterday's show on YouTube, or you can find it wherever you get your podcasts, as with all of our shows. Let's go to Fred calling us from L.A. Good morning, Fred.
Hello, Dominique. Yeah, three things. You got the 9th District wrong. It may be mostly quote-unquote Latino, but most of them can't vote because they're illegal immigrants. Number two.
Fred, before you go on to your next talking point, where are you getting your data from?
I live in Los Angeles all of my life.
So every Latino that you see in the 9th, you say, are you a citizen? And you make them show you their papers?
No,
I want to know the source.
changes.
No. You don't get to just say stuff. Like, where's the source? Where are you getting this information?
I'm my own source. A lot of the people in the 9th District are illegal immigrants, and they're not legally not allowed to vote. Now, all of them are.
You know what, Fred? That is just factually untrue. Okay, what's your next point?
Okay, I thought it was awful lousy that Travis Smiley didn't give you credit for getting the traffic straightened out on Crenshaw and the parking straightened out. It was the traffic engineer that did it, and you should have got the credit.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the owner of this radio station has led the charge on the the Destination Crenshaw, or as he calls it, Procrastination Crenshaw.
I got it. All right, the last one. Solve homelessness. You can't solve homelessness unless you're willing to address the problem. So many of the people are in their 20s and 30s. They don't want to work. They don't want to pay. You got freeloaders. You yourself said you need a $35 an hour job to get an apartment. They don't have the credit.
or two jobs.
Yeah.
But look, let me ask you again, what's your source? Like, where are you getting these ideas that most of the homeless people are young and lazy? Because according to a really great recent article in the LA Times, in fact, the opposite is true. The largest portion of people that we see unhoused right now are older Americans who can no longer work enough to pay their rent.
Now, that may be true coming from the top side, but from the bottom side, it was the young people. You know, I went down to Crenshaw the other day. I have to go that way. I live all of my people live in the neighborhood. I grew up in the neighborhood, and to take a look and see, and stopped at one of the restaurants. All the homeless people that came in there, and I'm going to call it harass me. I thought it was intriguing. They were all young, and that's what I see in the neighborhood, and that's what I see all over the place wherever I go.
Okay, well, so the young people really like you is what I'm concluding. I'm not getting young, crazy people really like you for whatever reason, Fred. I'm not concluding that means all the unhoused people are young and like to harass you. It just means those are the ones you're running into. The data show that more of the unhoused, a huge proportion of the unhoused, and actually my eyeballs support that data, but maybe I'm just not I should hang out with you, Fred. The data show that more unhoused, at least Angelenos, are older folks who can no longer afford their rent. And if you think logically, that makes sense. I'm working 2 or 3 jobs to pay my LA jacked up high rent. Now I can no longer work because I'm not, I'm not well, I'm not healthy, or I'm too advanced in age to really be working like that. And so how do I pay my rent? That's what that doesn't mean you don't want to work. That doesn't mean you're young and lazy. It means our system has failed because we do not have a proper safety net to take care of the elders who have already given so much to our nation. That's
where I
why
wanna
we're
be.
that's why we're electing democratic socialists. That's why people are ready for real substantial change instead of just this little tinkering around the edges between two parties. That's why there's the dissatisfaction. I think that's a big part of it. We need policies that support the greater good. We can't throw our older Americans away like trash on the streets. What kind of society does that?
Can I give you a policy? Okay, they say there's 78,000 people on the streets in the county, 28,000 in the city. Mayor Bass says she takes 25 off the street every day, but 28 go to the streets every day. It would be much, much better to concentrate on those 28 people that are going on the street, or even raise the number to 30 and stop those 30 from going on the streets. And yes, they are. Some of them are older people.
Yeah,
and
a lot of them are.
That's what the solution is.
All right, Fred, thank you so much. So the solution is get more people off the streets. Brilliant. I think we all knew that. I haven't heard the mayor make that talking point, but I have heard Pete from, why am I blanking on his name? From LA CAN, the Community Action Network. He's the leader of that organization, and he has said that for 25, we take 25 off, 28 go on. So what that means is more people are falling into houselessness than are getting pulled out of houselessness. So the answer is get more people off the streets. Yes, I agree with you, Fred. The question is how? And that's where we differ. The spook is spitting some straight up Trump talking points. The majority of FBA support Trump's immigration policy, and it's bringing back black jobs. That's, if you want to live in the land of Delulu, I cannot help you, but the fact is not bringing back. How have 600,000 black people lost jobs under this administration, and you're still saying it's bringing back black jobs? What? They're not even black jobs in the Republican Party, unless, I guess apparently unless you're in Florida. No, that's actually not true. And I do agree with Forensic. Nobody's illegal. They might be undocumented. Calling people illegal immigrants or aliens, okay. We got folks on the phone. Let's go to the folks on the phone. Rebecca from Agora Hills. Is that what it says? Good morning, Rebecca. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. Thank you for the topic. I have been thinking about this so much lately because I attribute the whole scandal with the LA City Council members making the racist statements. I attribute that as one factor that led to the election of our current DA, the morally corrupt, evil Nate Hoffman. Because if you remember, some of the statements made were that George Gascon was with the blacks, but I want people to remember that they also attacked George Gascon being brown people, and I'm a brown woman, by the way, and it was just such an embarrassing moment for me. But they attacked George Gascon also as a Huatecan from an area of Mexico, and it hit a nerve for me because I've faced similar attacks. I'm part Yaqui. It's obvious to some brown members of the community that I'm Yaqui by my nose, and I face racist attacks because of that. But my overall
Yaqui being an indigenous heritage.
Yes, yes. And so my overall message is that racism is everyone's fight. And, we got to stick together. And I think that Melina Abdullah has been the ultimate leader in these struggles because she did with Black Lives Matter led the campaign against Kevin DeLeon. Thank God got him out of there. And it was also an embarrassing time for me because I remember the Brown Berets were standing behind Kevin DeLeon. And I'm like, what is going on here? The Brown Berets actually formed because they were in alliance with the Black Panthers.
The fake new Brown Berets. I don't, it's like everybody running around calling themselves Black Panthers. Where did you get your charter from is the question. But yeah, you're talking about the complexities that happen behind the scenes and the ways that race and, even divisions within races, right? Different indigenous groups or different black groups are pitted against each other to promote the conservative agenda. I hadn't heard that take on Nathan Hochman, that Gascon is with the blacks, aka why? Because he was getting rid of some of these egregiously long prison sentences that were inhumane and unconstitutional, and that just so happened to affect a lot of black people. I assume that's why. But also affected Latinos. So it's so crazy how we are manipulated into voting against our own interests. And now, you get what you got. I do think we were also in a statewide wave of the old-fashioned scare people into voting conservative with, law and order. Remember, smash and grabs were in the news every single day. It was the same footage over and over again. And even though crime was down, we were being told that we were going to hell in a handbasket. And so that, conservatives always jump in. That's why they passed Prop 36. That's how we got a Nathan Hochman.
Right. And what I remind people, too, is just it along the similar vein. You remember when we were fighting for reparations a couple of years ago, and Bill Esseley, who's now the Attorney General, or one of Trump's,
he's a prosecutor for the Trump administration. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was assembly member at the time, and he was helping to pass a reparations bill.
No, he didn't. He said he would, but he never did.
He said he would. Yeah, right. He had co-sponsored one.
No, he didn't. He did not. He did not co-sponsor one. That's a rumor. He said he was going to. He tried to play black people against Assembly Member Isaac Bryan by saying he was going to. But Bill Esseley never passed a bill. He never co-sponsored a bill because he was in the Republican minority. Not only that, he was wildly unpopular. He tried to say his name was Bilal to try to get black people to like him. Well, then why have you been going by Bill for the past 20 years? But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing that you're talking about, Rebecca, where people, play our lack of deep knowledge and our own resentments and interpersonal community conflicts to mess over all of us, right? To against the best interest of black people and Latino people in that case. Rebecca, thanks so much for your call. She called me at 800-920-1580. I invite you to do the same. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
I'm an Eaton Fire hero. I was trapped there January 7th, 2025, so I was awarded the Carnegie American Red Cross and the Kiwanis Lifesaver Award. So, to me, this looks like a slow burn. You constantly see Dr. Hardy, Pastor Caldwell, Mr. Smiley here. Their business is slowly impacted. Now, in Altadena, it was a quick burn. Everybody left. Everybody got priced out. They didn't have enough money to stay afloat. They couldn't rebuild their property. So, to me, this is a target for the developers. In my opinion, having been in Altadena for 18 months, still today, I still feed all of those people there because they're still displaced because they can't afford to come back. So what do? They move down to the Inland Empire, or they just call it a day and they go back to another state. So it's important to hold leadership accountable because as of right now, they've abdicated their responsibility. They just show up for the cameras and they don't even come to see you.
Keeping them in check. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/groundadvantage to learn more.
Are you feeling the heat?
LADWP can help you stay cool this summer and save money. Through the Cool LA program, eligible customers can receive instant rebates of up to $275 on new portable, window, and wall air conditioners. Shop the Cool LA Marketplace today and beat the heat and save. Learn more and apply at ladwp.com/cool-LA. That's ladwp.com/cool-LA.
Number 14. That's where Talkers Magazine ranked Tavis Smiley on their Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important talk radio hosts in America. Join Tavis weekdays, 9 a.m. to noon or 9 p.m. to midnight. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Knock, knock, Capital One Bank guy.
Wow, Charles Barkley?
I just moved into the neighborhood. Can I borrow some Wi-Fi?
Sure, Chuck. That's what the Capital One Cafe is here for, open 7 days a week.
Oh, can I use your ATM? My dog Walker only takes cash.
Anything for a neighbor.
Can I try the catchphrase?
Sure, take it for a spin.
There's no fees and minimums on Capital One checking accounts.
Nice, Chuck. I'll take it from here. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Visit CapitalOne.com/bankguide for details. Capital One and a member FDIC.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do more than just talk.
You got a big mouth. Hello, Joe, you're up. Welcome.
We're unapologetically progressive, and we don't black down.
Yes, indeed. We don't, and neither do you, nor should you. The chat is especially robust today. If you want to jump in, you can go to youtube.com, KBLA 1580. Don't forget, also living on our YouTube, many, many interesting and varied conversations as podcasts. They live there. You can get them wherever you get your podcasts as well. That's okay, Paul. The black-brown convo always goes on and on and on, especially in LA, because that's where we live. We live together. Y'all can say what you want. We go to the same schools. We go to the same stores, hospitals. Not all of the same stores, not all of the same schools, but we be there. Let's go to Carolyn calling us from LA. Good morning, Jumbo, Ola, Hotep. What's up? Carolyn, you with me?
Dominique, how are you?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm blessed. In regards to blacks doing their own thing and not including or, Latinos or whatever, okay, what's wrong with that? Black people we have got to start. I'm both. I'm Native American and ancestry of Africa. But and let me tell you something. The only time that I've been called the N-word in this town was from a Latino. Okay, I've experienced that at least 4 times.
Really?
Okay, yes. And I have been in
with the hard R
for like 50 years.
They were saying it as a slur, obviously. They were saying it.
No, it was not a slur.
They were saying it with not a hard R. Were they like, "What's up, my N-word"? Like how?
No.
What was the context?
No. It was first time I was downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I went into the store. This jewelry store, and so it was like about 2 young Latinos there. And they were marking, so I was looking like, oh, now she's looking over there. But, why is she even in here? Or, that kind of thing.
I got you. So that is a slur then.
Okay.
If they call you the N-word, they mean it in that context, they mean it as a slur. Are there racists?
No,
absolutely. Hold on, Carolyn, I'm happy to listen, but you also have to listen. It's a conversation. We go back and forth. So I want to be clear. I was not saying that I don't think we should, as black people, have the right or the ability to do our own thing. I think it's great. Sweep around your own front door, organize your block, organize your community. Carolyn, I was never saying that. My point is that coalition has served us well. It doesn't mean you have to do everything in coalition. It doesn't mean it's the answer to everything. But allyship and coalition between black and brown has produced results. That's all I was saying. Go ahead, Carolyn.
Well, I agree with you on that. But because all black people ain't good. All white people ain't bad.
What do you do when they
Asian
call you
people
that?
are
Do you
this
beat
and that.
them up? Like, what do you do? What do you do
No,
when some...
I just call them something else. You know
Oh,
what I'm gonna say.
Okay, so you just throw it back at them. All right.
Exactly.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, it's like one time I was in line. You know, but we're in cars, and so it was the person in front. It was this Latino man, and behind him, I don't know who it was, but I was behind the other person, so I was the third one. And he gets out the car, you know, because I'm in a convertible, so now you can see, you know. And so he's like, you know, what that shut up N-word, you know, and blah, 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 you know, that kind of thing. And another time, you know, there was these three, well, I think it was four of these Latino young girls in a convertible. And so they're going to try to cut me off, right? I'm there, you know, and you have to get to a stop sign. The stop light. And they're going to try to cut me. So I was like, hey, you know, just calm down, young ladies. You know, we got to wait for... Screw you, N-word. You know, and you could tell they were Latinos and, you know. And
yeah,
you know,
I
so
hear
that,
you, and that's unacceptable,
yeah,
and it's wrong, and it's bad, and and sometimes it happens when you might not even know it because they're going to say mayate, which means the same thing in Spanish. But I mean, white supremacy, racism, people who adhere to the illusion of white supremacy, yeah. Are there Latinos? Yeah. Are there Asians? Yeah. Are there white people? Yeah. Now you're talking about individual racism, and that's something that has to be tackled. I'm never quite sure how to respond to that myself. Sometimes I want to cuss somebody out, and I admit I have. Sometimes I want to go get the big homie and have them deal with it. But do we make our policies and strategic, keyword strategic political decisions based on the fact that there are racists present among a group of people? I would argue that strategy has to, as Sahara Ali would say, be wise, not emotional. We're talking our well-being next. Woosah, Dr. Noel Reed joins us on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The investigation continues into a shooting at a Robbins, Illinois restaurant that left Black Mayor Darren Bryant with minor injuries. Village spokesman Sean Howard.
Fortunately, it was isolated. The mayor wasn't